Hola a todos y bienvenido a nuestra página. ¿Cómo están? Soy abogada para. Estoy aquí cada día para usted, para un respiro durante su día en que nosotros charlamos sobre temas de inmigración. Hola Francisco, hola Kinza, hello everyone, Mundito, how are you? Martín, ¿cómo está? Muchísimas gracias por su tiempo hoy. Estoy aquí para hablar sobre temas de inmigración. Como siempre, soy una abogada de inmigración. Estamos aquí cada día específico para usted. En esta semana hay muchas cosas, ¿sí? Nosotros tenemos Halloween, pero también Día de los Muertos y también en unos días la elección también. So, ¿cómo se sientes? How are you guys doing? There's a lot going on. There's Halloween, there's Dia de los Muertos, there's an election coming up. Check in with me. Tell me how you guys are doing. There's a lot of activity right now and a lot of nervous energy, right? So I want to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves, but that you are also fully aware of what you can do during this time, because there are a lot of things that you need to do towards the end of the year, right? Before we get into the holiday season, we've got Thanksgiving, we've got Christmas, we have the New Year. What goals do you have for the next year? What goals do you have for yourself, for your family, for the life that you would like, right? Hola Marco, ¿cómo está? Y Marco dice, saludos, abogada, tengo un caso de visité con usted y espero buenas noticias. Sé que es la mujer mejor. Oh, yo también, Marco, para todos mis clientes, específico para usted. Usted es un cliente que es tan importante para mí, específico, para todo mi equipo. Nosotros trabajemos mucho en su caso también. Y ahorita esperamos para alguna noticia. Y siempre es... para mí es el momento favorito en mi día cuando nosotros recibimos aprobaciones y yo puedo compartir esta noticia con mis clientes, ¿sí? Es posible que usted mire nuestros videos de nuestros clientes que se reciben sus aprobaciones ayer y la semana pasada también. Este es el tiempo favorito para mí. So Marco was saying that he has a case, a TV's a case with us actually, so he's one of our clients. Thank you so much. Gracias para su confianza y también es un placer para mí específico para hablar con usted y ayudarle en su caso de inmigración. He has a case with us and he is waiting for, great notice. And what I was saying was that, to be perfectly honest, every single client, especially Marco, is tremendously important to me. I want great results for every single one. And I think, people like listen to that and they think, oh, okay, sure, everybody wants that. But I live and breathe and sleep thinking about your cases. I want results. I am the type of person myself, just personally, where if I see a problem and I want a solution, I want the same for you. And it's funny because I can give you examples of this, just in minor examples. For example, we have a fence that has torn down that is not even on our property, but it's torn down, and because of that, the noise level has increased in our backyard. And I have, all of our neighbors, everybody is kind of looking at this fence, trying to figure it out. Okay, it's a broken fence. Everyone's complaining about it. And I was like, listen, I'm sure there's a solution to this. Let's figure this out. So I spent a couple hours calling the village, calling the tollway association, calling the highway patrol, calling this people, calling fence people, all this stuff, because I did my research and then I put it to a list because I'm like that. I'm an attorney, so I guess this is what we do. So I carry these little notebooks around with me everywhere I go. And I made a whole list of everything that we needed to do in order to fix this fence. And then I got to talk to the neighbors, and then I tried to solve the problem. And it's a funny example, but it's a very valid example of how I go about my day to day, but then also professionally as well. So your cases are not like a broken fence, or maybe they are, but for me, I see a problem, I want to solve it. I will do the research, I will find the steps, I will make my list, I will use my little old school yellow notepad, I will type it all up, I will think about it, think about it until I can come up with a solution, and then I will fight for you, right? So, en español, um, en mi vida personalmente también, yo quiero resolver todos los problemas que nosotros tenemos. Si hay algún problema, por ejemplo, necesitamos que reparar un fence en en la piscina, ¿sí? Y para eso necesitamos que llamar todas las personas, las compañías, el departamento de transportación, nuestro dueño de nuestro lugar, y necesitamos que reparar esta solución. Esa es la misma manera en que yo quiero ayudar a mis clientes también con sus casos. Sus casos son más importantes de algo cosa, muy, muy importante para mí. Y si yo tengo algún caso que se parece un poco difícil o que otros abogados le dijeron que es imposible, este es mi caso favorito, porque yo me encantaría resolver este tipo de caso, y me encantaría um, dar alguna solución para usted, y también que yo pueda ganar para ganar los resultados para usted también. So, esta es mi pasión, esta es mi garantía para usted. Nuestro tópico hoy es que cómo puede viajar afuera del país. So the topic of today is how can you leave the country even if you're here undocumented, or if you're in the process of getting your immigration. Life happens and things happen, and sometimes there's an emergency back home, or a family member who's sick, or even a death in your family, or even some economic issues where you have to sell land, or you have to rent houses, or you have to get rid of your property, or whatever that might be. You have to suddenly leave the country. And how can you do that? Well, if you have a case that's pending, you should have been able to apply for a travel permit as well. And if you have that travel permit, you can actually leave the country and come back without a problem. And it doesn't matter if you've had an illegal entry or if you've had immigration problems in the past, because you have that travel permit now, and you have the permission for you to be able to travel outside of the country as a result. Now, the thing about that I will give one caveat is that if you do have criminal history, I urge you first to talk to an attorney to make sure that it's okay for you to travel. If you have the travel permit in your hand, generally speaking, it's okay, but always check to make sure if there's any sort of concerns that you might have based on your history, right? Let's say that you haven't gotten to that point. You haven't gotten your travel permit yet, and there is an emergency. How do you fix that? Well, you can actually ask for an expedited travel permit. You can ask for humanitarian, on a humanitarian basis. You can ask for some sort of, permit in order for you to leave to attend a funeral and then to come back. There are different ways that you could do this, and I've had really great success in trying to expedite travel permits based on these issues. So if that is a situation that you are in, please do not worry about that and think that you have no solutions at all. You do have options available to you, and we can actually take a look at that. So, ¿cómo puede viajar? Si usted tiene un caso pendiente, usted puede viajar afuera del país con un permiso de viaje. En nuestra oficina nosotros siempre aplicamos para un permiso de viaje para nuestros clientes. A veces hay unas situaciones un poco diferentes, que si usted tuve una historia criminal o algo cosa, que para mí, yo puedo decir a mis clientes que ahorita mi recomendación es que usted no visita o no sale al país, pero usualmente si usted tiene un permiso de viaje, se puede visitar su familia, se puede salir al país, puede regresar sin problema. Y la buena cosa es que, por ejemplo, con los casos de la VAWA o ajuste de estatus o la visa T o algo cosa, nosotros podemos que pedir para un permiso de viaje para usted también, que es muy, muy importante para mis clientes, ¿sí? Porque yo quiero que usted tiene toda la libertad de poder ganar su independencia, pero también que usted puede visitar todo el mundo si quiere. Sí, es tan importante para mí que usted tiene esta confianza y tiene la oportunidad de explorar el mundo si quiere, pero también para visitar a su familia Sí, es muy importante para su salud mental, para su salud física también, y por esa razón es una prioridad en nuestra oficina. Si hay una emergencia, hay unas maneras en que pudimos que ayudarle con su proceso y pudimos que excelar su caso expediente, ¿sí? Más rápidamente. So, esa es una manera también. Por ejemplo, si usted tiene parole en place para militar, por ejemplo, usted puede conseguir para un permiso de viaje más rápidamente. Tenemos mucho éxito con ese tipo de caso. Con VAO y residencia también pudimos que aplicar para el permiso de viaje, y usualmente mis clientes se reciben este permiso en desde 6 o 8 meses. So, es muy rápidamente y se puede cambiar su vida con esta opción también, ¿sí? So one of the things that you can do, like I said, is you can expedite your case. But if you, for example, if you have a military parole in place, for example, we've had a lot of great success with that. So you're kind of waiting for an answer for that. You can actually expedite your travel permit and leave the country based on your pending military parole in place. And we've actually just recently done that for a lot of clients and had tremendous results with that. The other thing that I would say is that if you're a DACA recipient, absolutely you should try to get the advanced parole and also leave the country. There are several reasons for that. One, because that is an option available to you as long as DACA continues to be valid. You can continue to do that. But also that when you come back into the country, sometimes there's a way for you to consider that re-entry then to be a legal entry. And as a result, you can actually fix your status with a citizen spouse or a citizen parent or something of that nature. So there's a couple of different ways that we can actually help you. And so if you are a DACA recipient, you can actually travel based on education or work or economic necessity. So there are a couple of different categories that you can use, and we can help you with that as well. So if this is something that you're looking to do, or it's been on your list and you're like, hey, I don't know if I can do this or not, absolutely try to get that travel permit. Now, I will say that if you are in the process for asylum, you cannot get a travel permit, especially to go back to your country, because the entire reason why you got that, or you're applying for asylum, or you got that asylum, was to avoid going back to your country. So that wouldn't work. There are a couple of other things that we can talk about in terms of what can and cannot work for you in travel permit. A lot of times people will call our office and say, I only want a travel permit. I have no underlying immigration case. I have nothing else. I just want to leave and be able to come back. And that, unfortunately, is not possible. A travel permit would need to be done while a case is pending. So para las personas que se llaman a nuestra oficina, muchas veces se dice que yo solamente quiero un permiso de viaje, pero yo no tengo algún caso de inmigración y no quiero otro caso de inmigración. Ese no es posible. So, por favor, no pague a alguna persona que se dice que este es una manera válida, porque no es cierto. Usted no puede recibir un permiso de viaje si no tiene algún caso pendiente en el proceso o en el sistema también. So, con eso, si usted tiene, como siempre, si usted tiene algunas preguntas, por favor, llámenos a 630-504-0648. Estoy aquí cada día para usted. Ojalá que su semana esté bien, y también feliz martes. Y mañana nosotros tenemos otro anuncio, otro show para usted. Y también en Halloween, yo pienso que yo tengo algún costumbre para usted también. So stay tuned for all of that, and we will talk again. All right, bye.